So can you please now let me know, walk through the process, like, I mean, you already said that there is an automation thing and all, like, when I asked you, what is the difference between a test plan and a test case?
Test plan is like before start with the testing, we do the test plan, like what are the resource allocation. It required the resource allocation, number of utilization, and also timeline. How much time is required per particular stories. Based on the priority of the story, based on the points of the particular story, we have to analyze this particular story required this much time, and this stories required this much time and effort, and which is required more manual effort, which is required automation effort. Those things we need to understand first. First we need to plan before start with the testing. Once they start with the testing, we need to write the test cases, a step by step procedure to follow, that is called as test cases. This is called as architecture, like the planning. Before constructing a house, we are starting with the planning. That is what we call as test plan. And constructing a house step by step is called test case.
Okay. Can you let me explain the SDLC life cycle?
SDLC requirement analysis planning, understanding, execution, and closure complete.
Okay. Okay, how do you ensure that you, like, what are the story points? Like you said, there is, do you follow the agile methodology or what methodology in ServiceNow?
Agile
Like
methodology.
agile. Okay, so when you are, when there is a requirement gathering or story, discussion in the Scrum call, so how do you ensure that you are getting a proper expected points for you for do the testing?
Can you come again?
So they'll say, for example, there is a story with 10 points, and the developer says, I need eight story. It's just an example. It's 8 story points to complete this. So you are ending up having only 2 story points. So like, how do you convince yourself or convince them, or how do you make sure that, because the story has been defined for 10, right?
Yeah.
So how do you accommodate your testing, story points or your efforts? So if it is more than 2, how do you ensure that, will you coordinate with developer or will you coordinate with the Scrum Master, or how exactly you will handle the situation?
The current story which is in my queue, it is a 2 point story, and the story which is in my developer bucket is 8 point story. You are saying, right?
Yeah, total
So
10 you say, including
total
testing. That
10.
is
So developer said it is not possible to complete within this sprint. So in that case, what I take on the action, I collaborate with the BA and Scrum Master and the developer as well. Based on the story understanding, if I clearly understand the requirement, then I can start with the parallel testing before start with the before come to my queue. I collaborate with the developer step to step, end to end, because the story is, if the story is completely high priority and critical for the business need, so in that case we have to collaborate with the developer to until the development need to stop completed. Then after that I do the even though before I do the parallel testing as well, because I already know the requirement and what is the expectation as well. But as per the procedure, as per the procedure, we need to follow step by step, right? So once the developer completes the testing, when the, development, once the story come to testing queue, then I start with the testing and I give the complete assurance, and I will give the immediate complete sign up for the testing.
what about the points? Like the 2 points are not sufficient for you, okay,
Yeah.
but the story is given 10 points. So how do you ensure that you'll be giving a correct story points? So will you, because let's say a story should have only 10 points in a sprint, okay?
Yeah.
So in that 8 was already taken by the developer, you already have 2.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure, like you need 4 story points, maybe let's say for testing, it's a very critical high end story or requirement that you need to, that developer need to accomplish and you need to do the testing. Like how do you ensure that this gap is aligned? Because 2 is not sufficient for you, because if developer is taking 8, it will be for you 3 or 4 where you have to do the proper end-to-end testing.
In that case, if I do the, I see from the testing perspective, I don't have any issue. But the number of stories assigned from the Scrum Master only, the points will be assigned from the Scrum Master based on the story and criticality and priority. Yeah.
Understand. My question is, if it's two, if you tell it is four, like how do you communicate this to Scrum Master, or how do you manage this gap? Because they have given you only two story points, but you need four
Yeah.
for the story.
Uh, in that case, I collaborate with the Scrum Master to whether it is possible to if the story is 8 part story, it is a lengthy story and it is not possible to complete within that sprint. So if it is possible to split that story as per the business need, we need to check with the product owner whether it is possible to split, what is the requirement as like high priority requirement. Based on that we can do with a story one, create a one story immediately, and after that just make it as two point or 3 point, and then we can completely do the testing within sprint ending. So if it is a 8 point story, it will be it is not possible to give the complete conclusion within the time, and it's a very length story, and development also take long time, and testing also time. As per the story point, if it is at 8 points, it should be like 5 days for development and 3 days for minimum testing, right? And if it is a 3 point, it is a 2 days for development and 1 days for testing, as per my understanding, right? So if you are given the 8 point story for developer and 2 points, if I already have a 2 point story, then it is not possible to completely align with the 8 point story to my queue, and also it is not possible to complete the 8 point story within a sprint. So in that case, I inform to Scrum Master if there is possibility to split the story, to break down the story based on the requirement, like what are the main functionalities required as per the business need. Then we can Scrum Master will immediately inform to BA to create check with the product owner and create a story which is the high priority one, and after that they will start with the same procedure. This is what we followed in the current the previous project as well.
So you said automation was done on the testing, right? Like before that, how do you used to write the test cases, whether it's in ServiceNow, or do you use any other tool for those test cases?
For test cases, we use all the Excel sheet only. We are not using any particular tool. For storage creation, we are using ServiceNow. For test management 2.2, this we are following for defect management, and defect also we are using ServiceNow instead. For the automation also we are using ServiceNow.
So, so I just wanted to let you ask you, like, have you worked on the upgrade related testing in your career? Like, what are the steps or roles that you have been in the testing phase of the upgrade?
During upgrade, my responsibility as a QA, I have taken the complete regression for the existing stories. Before moving to upgrade, I done with all the stories to complete and done with the regression and with the expected 100% result based on the story rating and based on the 100% regression rate. I given the complete conclusion before the upgrade ending. Upgrade the platform. Then after that upgrade, then I give the support to like whether the complete upgrade changes, what are the changes is happened, and if there any changes in the new platform is changing, and if the regression is completely 100% is working as possible, that I have to check in after the upgrade as well. So during upgrade, my responsibility as a QA, they given the task to complete the upgrade for regression only. We have done with the multiple stories to for regression purpose only through automation.
So when it comes to the ATF, so what is, what are the reusable test cases?
Reusable test cases, like it's steps we are following in the ATF to if you want to if the existing functionality is same function having the same in the existing story, then we can utilize that particular step. For that purpose, we are using reusable test.
Okay, what are test suits?
Test suite is a group of tests. We call it as a test suite. Instead of single state, if you are consider any of the particular story, if have multiple stories and the same forms, right? If you want to make it like test suite for all the forms in a one single suite, that will be helpful for understanding this story which having this kind of forms in the this particular suite, like that. For grouping stories, test test suite.
How the test suits run. So then, like for example, I have 10 test cases in one test suite.
Yeah.
Let's say problem change. So how when you run the test suite,
Mm-hmm.
so how will it run parallelly, or like for example, there is one test case
Mm-hmm.
or one testing for incident, the other one for problem, the other one for change. It will run three at a time, or it will wait until the incident test steps are completed, and then it will make sure to go to the other test room. So how the execution happens for the test suites?
It will be run parallelly only. It will not wait for any other. Like if you are in the normal catalog form, when we run the catalog form for multiple test in a test suite, it will be run parallelly and it will give the their respective result. It will not wait for anything.
Okay, but what if you have reusable tests in that suite?
If you have a reusable test in the test suite, like in that condition, I'm not sure because I'm not utilize that condition. But as per my understanding, if the test is wait for the next the previous test, it depends on that. In that case, it will be waited. It need to be waited or it show the error.
You are telling it will be weighted or it will show the error.
Or it will be
Okay.
waited. Like because we have given the timer, right? If timer is exceeded, then automatically it will show error, right? So if the first test is not executed completely, then after that only we can take the previous reusable test case, right? So that cases it will be happening. But I'm not sure because I'm not use that condition particularly. Uh,
I'm sure that is not correct actually.
mhm,
But yeah, it's okay. Like because when you are having this suite,
mhm,
the test suite, so when you use a reusable thing, so it again, yeah, whatever the first you have said is the one that it follow. It also runs parallelly.
mhm.
But it depends upon what reusable test you are giving. It's not about it's actually condition based, I can say.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, let me take an example. If you have written a test suite or a test case.
Mhm,
In the test case, you have some 10 test steps, let's say. So at step 6, it got failed due to the execution error or something like, and it's taking a long time to load the form. So how do you ensure that this is rectified?
If the test particular test is, then I go with the log, particular test log, and understand why it is failed that particular step. Then I fix root
No,
cause.
the log itself, no, it's not a log. Maybe let's say the execution.
Mm,
Due to the execution time, the window execution is less.
mm,
That's the reason the test case is getting failed.
correct.
What do you do
In that
for
case,
that? Because the
particular,
error is
if it
clear.
is required, due to execution time, then I change the timer to expected, like either it is instead of 5 second, I give the 30 second or 60 second is required, because somewhere it is approval, somewhere in a task flows complete, there it is required more timer, right? So I have manually add the timer for that particular step.
So where this all execution thing store? So there is a property. Can you let me know what's the property for that thing?
Sorry.
The all the execution timeline, you can actually make the value, like for example it would be 1500 by default.
Mhm,
So if you wanted to increase it to 6000 or 3000,
mhm.
so what's the property that you will be handling to make sure the execution time is increased? See, what you
In the
said
system
is
properties,
individual execution time. Yeah. Hmm.
in the system
What
properties,
you
we have settings before running the test. We have to set up with the in ATF system properties.
so what's the property name that you use?
Mm, no, I'm not remember exactly. So,
Okay, so let's say I have a use case for you. Let's say I have to test an incident end to end. Let's say I have priority one, two, three, four, five. I have to test all the five priorities of an incident. What is the best way that you will write a test case? Test for this.
Like if
Test
you
case.
want to test all the four priorities, right? You want to do the testing for all the priorities, right? So
Mm-hmm.
based on the urgency and impact, we have to we have to validate the priority, right? It will be priority will be displayed automatically based on the urgency and impact. So the following steps will be the same, like when you are if the incident open, and after that field validation, after that field form submission, after that field form submission, after that record query, record update. Like if you want to the particular steps, I can able to say like impersonate a user, after that open a form, then field form validation, after that field state validation, after that set field values, and after that form submission, then record query, record update. In that case,
And sorry to interrupt you, boss. So you have five priorities, let's say.
correct.
So you'll repeat the each and every priority step. It would be like somewhere around 25 test steps, right? So is there any other way that you can utilize this?
If it is like for same we are using for particular like the same parameterized testing we can utilize in the ATF for if you want to do the multiple outputs for the different same output same input for multiple outputs, then like the different things like priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, so we can get a different outputs with a different sorry different inputs and different outputs. We can use priority parameter testing in it. I'm sure.
So let's say I have created one parameterized test and I want to utilize that in a let's forget about the priorities in center. I just created a parameterized test
Okay.
in global scope. So I want to use that in a human resource scope.
Okay.
So how can you do this? Is it possible to call that scope, or I have to create the same scope? But whatever I wanted, the parameter tests are in the global. So I wanted to utilize them in my custom scope. How can you do this?
If you want to if you want to use the same if you already created the parameter testing in global scope, right, then you want to use for particular scope. In that case in the when you creating in the parameter testing log, in the related list, you will have the logs, right, which are scope showing in the scope, right. There you have to change the scope names, then you can utilize the use with the
Scope means where I didn't understand that.
yeah. Like in this in screen in the parameter testing when we are created, right, in the log in the related list, there it will be shown the this what are the scope names it is showing in the below in the last in the last column, like last related list column. So there you can change the scope name, right, if you want to change the scope names.
But once it's created in the global scope, it won't be changed, right?
Yeah, but usually global scope is we can use anywhere, right? It is not restrict anything, right? If it is a private, then if it a particular scope, then only it is it will ask for it is a private one. It not go with the global, and you can't utilize, you can't edit kind of. But if it is a global, it is we can edit and we can utilize, right? It's not restricted, right?
Yeah. So then, I think I'm good from my end. Manisha, you can actually go ahead with. So Bhuja, I have just one question for you. So I can see that you have worked on custom forms and related testing. So can you please let us know about it? I mean,
Custom.
how was your approach for testing the custom forms?
custom forms like in the service portal, when we are creating a particular custom related forms, right? In that particular form, if it is required, the based on the needs and based on the UI action, where the particular UI action required and where the particular fields values required, those things have validated in the with the service portal. When we are creating a service portal in the form level, in that it will be the creation will be totally different, right? As per the development perspective, it will be like we have to utilize with widget, and after that based on the widget adjustment we have to validate. But in a service catalog or normal form, it's not required to do. We just create with a variable, and after that it will be shown in the form level, right? But in service portal we have to for the particular portal forms like request form, it is there. In that case we have to utilize with the widgets and adjust with the form level, that what we have to validate as per the we have to check with the responsiveness of that particular system level as well, and also mobile level as well. Those things have validated in the custom forms.
Okay, maybe I got one question when Manish was asking. So let's say there is a change interceptor. Okay. So how do you test the change interceptor? What are the test steps you use for that?
For change.
Change interceptor. When you create a change, how you will be creating a change? It's automatically creates a normal change or emergency change, or you will have a interceptor to select what change it is. So I want to test that interceptor form when you're raising a change. How do you do that?
I created it when I'm creating a chain based on the story, based on the incident priority. And based on the problem root cause analysis, will add the change, which type of it is, normal change or emergency a standard change. Based on that only will create a change and follow the steps as per the procedure. If it is required emergency changes required to upgrade immediately, and if it is fix the problem the particular issue immediately, so in that case emergency change is required to create, and after that follow the same procedure on that.
But that's your custom thing, right? Like out of the box, the interceptor is there. Like how do you follow the out of the box? Like because you already have the regression testing when you use for upgrades.
Correct.
So upgrades something where you test the out of the box functionality first, and then later you add your custom test steps and you do your custom testing.
Correct.
How do you ensure this out of the box? The interceptor is being tested properly. Like how was that?
Like you are asking in the normal manual testing, or you are asking in the automation
ATF.
ATF. Okay. In ATF, when we are writing the step in that, when we are adding the change the interceptor, so based on the based on the incident and problem level, it will be automatically taken. Like based on the priority, it will be it will be selected with the change interface, whether it is a change normal or this thing. And we have to give the while we are adding the steps, we have to give the which particular change is needed to be. That is what.
But the interceptor doesn't depend on any incident, like any problem. It's basically okay. It's okay. Let me ask you in this way: like, how do you test the pop-up? Like, for example, when you are promoting a major incident, let's say you click promote, so you'll be giving some, you will be getting a pop-up, right? Like, how do you, why you have to enter the comments to promote it to a major incident. So that pop-up will be coming. How you test the pop-up, basically?
Like in that is like when we are using in chain management also have seen the same pop-up, and even though in normal forms also we have there is two types of pop-up. There is one is if the pop-up when we are submitting automatically pop-up will be opened, and it will ask for the okay, like this is not a proper this field should be mandatory, like that. When you say click on okay, then automatically then it will allow for the next. There are some other pop-up, like we need to enter the input in that
Yeah.
particular pop-up. So in that case, what we need to do, mainly we are finding in the chain management. In chain management, we following the same like risk assessment step. We are following the
Yes.
same. There, what we need to do, we need to go with the custom step. In the custom step, based on the change request, when the pop-up is opened, there we have to go with the first we have to go with the normal step and after the custom step, and also if required we need to write the script as well. But I have not much work on the change management much because I have more work on service catalog form. So I have understand this because I have seen these scenarios so many somewhere. So based on my understanding, this is what we follow. We need to utilize with the custom step and the script as well for that to give the input for that particular pop-up.
Okay, there is a model dialogues test steps. So you haven't used those test steps, right?
Not sure because in chain management I didn't use much. I didn't work on it. I have more work on service catalog and catalog from request form because in my last project, all project related more into this kind of forms.
Understandable. I think I am good from my end. Yeah. Do you have any questions for us, Bhujan?